Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Phil and this is Grow Your Dough. I'm really excited to announce the launch of my Chrome extension for Stockopedia called Console. As you may or may not know, I'm a factor-based investor and I'm always looking to develop tools to help automate my process. And so this Chrome extension tool that works on the Stockopedia website is going to be a godsend. I want to say thank you to the Stockopedia team for their collaboration and support and help in my building of this tool. I really hope that it helps you to develop factor-based investing approaches that help you to grow your dough. Today's video is going to be an overview of what you can do in the tool, and this playlist will expand to include more short videos talking you through the features and the configuration of the tool and how to use it. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour of the tool, and then I'm going to go back through each of the features really slowly and do a video per feature so that you can learn how to configure it and set it up and what this tool can do, because it is really, really powerful. Okay, so it relies on you using a Chrome browser. This is in testing at the moment with other Mac users. I want to see if this works on Chrome on a Mac. It should do. There's no reason why it shouldn't. And Chrome has a feature here where you can have lots of little extensions. They're additions to what is presented on the web page, and they give you permission to modify or work with the data that's being presented through the website. So I've written this little extension, and you manage extensions through this little button here. So you can see I've got ad blocker for blocking ads. I've got an Adobe Acrobat reader. I've got Claude, which is an AI tool, Evernote Web Clipper for clipping information and saving it, LastPass, free word password. LastPass is a password manager, etc. But here's my extension, GrowYourDough Console. So when I'm on a Stockopedia page, I can actually click that, and it will present the GrowYourDough panel. And the GrowYourDough panel has got it opens out into a larger presentation area. It's also got some settings, and if you ask the question mark, it'll bring you over to my website. And you can just toggle whether that's visible or not. It'll try to collect some data overnight if your computer is active and switched on and the Chrome tab is open, and that's called a dawn fetch. It gets the data from Stockopedia at 4 a.m. and depending on what regions you use, whether you're a UK, an EU, North America, Asia, or Australasia subscriber, it will fetch data at different times of the day. But what I'm trying to do is pre-fetch it so we all don't suddenly wake up at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning and just blast the servers. That's what I'm trying not to do. So that's called a dawn fetch. And then the next option of that is if your computer wasn't switched on at 5 o'clock in the morning, then we do a pre-flight fetch, which means we grab the data that you need for the portfolio or the circumstances that you're looking at. And it's slow, right? It needs to be slow so we don't overwhelm the servers. Better if you can do the dawn fetch. It pre-fetches it all for you nice and quietly in the background. The pre-flight fetch is gentle, and it's going to take you a bit longer. So, read the discussion boards, go and grab a coffee, come back, and then you'll be ready to go later on in the morning. Let's start with some of the things that got me going on this. What was I trying to resolve? So if you don't know by now, I'm a factor-based investor who's always looking to automate the process, to take the opinion and subjectivity out of my decisions. I want it to be easy to buy and sell. And ideally, I would automate that completely and codify it so I'm not involved in the decision-making process. I might design the structure, but then I just let it go. Okay, so this is what I've been trying to do, and this is what the console extension is all about. So first, I want to give you a taste of it working. Please don't try to be overwhelmed by the complexity of it at the moment. I just want to show you what you can do with it and show you the end result of this whole process and sell it to you, really. So I want to start just by going to a simple screen. Let's just go through it. It just looks for a QM rank greater than 95. It's looking for a flat or better than flat 1 month upgrade to financial year 1 and financial year 2 for the EPS. So that means it's trending up or flat. And then for the 3-month version of that, it's got to be moving upwards. So generally, we're looking for an upward momentum in the graph over 3 months, but 1 month can be flat. I'm looking for a market cap of greater than 10 million, a bid-ask spread greater than 500. I want stocks that are close to their 52-week high. So I want stocks that are close to breaking out or already breaking out. I exclude a couple of industry groups. Collective investments is just a collection of other stocks that somebody else has arranged already. Well, we're doing that, so there's no point buying anymore. And the other one is real estate investment trusts. I'm not interested in that. I'm also want to make sure that the number of downgrades from brokers is 0 in the last month. And at the moment, I just want to focus in on the UK stock. So when you run this screen, you get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 stocks meeting that criteria. And for those who know my approach, what I would normally do then is I would export the data into a Google spreadsheet, and then I'd start looking at the Ichimoku chart. I want to see if the Ichimoku charting is behaving as I'd expect. And one of the other things that first things that I do is I'm looking at the texture of this EPS graph. I'm looking to see if there's any dips, if it's climbing northwards. Let's just scroll through a few of them and see what we can see. They should all be reasonably upwardly mobile because of the screening parameters that we've specified, the 1 month and the 3 month. But you know, this is tedious and time consuming. You've got to filter them out. You've got to move stuff across portfolios. It's fiddly and it's a waste of time. So I'm looking for one that isn't ideal. You know, I'm actually having to read these numbers and look at the figures to see if they're good, bad, indifferent. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Here's one that's not good. Maybe there's some declining going on in here in the middle of that, and I might reject that share price graph. Okay, so that's the sort of analysis. It's time consuming, it's fiddly, it's tedious. Okay. But anyway, so here's my screen. What if I was happy with those screening parameters? Maybe I got the screen perfectly set up and those candidates were all buy candidates. What if I went to a portfolio? So here's a portfolio, it's got £20,000 in and it's clean. There's nothing else in there. What if I could say, I would like you to run that screen. I would like the portfolio to have 20 positions. I'm going to use a stop loss of the Kumo. I'll explain that later on. So that my stop loss typically rides at the bottom of the cloud. I might have an alert at 8% because the Kumo is quite a long way away from the price action. So you might want something closer that tells you if there's something going on. I want you to measure this, the stock ranks and the QM ranks and the VM ranks against all of my universe rather than just against the UK. And I want to put an industry limit on the stock. So I don't want you to buy 20 miners, metals and mining, or 20 semiconductor companies. I'm saying limit it to 15%. So in a 20 position portfolio, that means I'll only ever get 3 semiconductors, 3 miners, 3 bankers. Here's my extension. And it's looking at this portfolio. And it can read these hashtags. And what I can do now is I can go screen and auto buy. It goes off, finds the screen, runs the screen, looks at the candidates, and then tries to buy into this portfolio according to the rules. It's have I got enough cash? Am I breaking the industry group limit? And it buys them. And here it's bought 12 of them. Let's refresh the portfolio. So at the moment, it's probably bought everything. And if we look at the industry sectors, nothing has broken the 3 per industry group limit. Got 3 investment bankers, 2 metals and mining. So it's bought everything it could. It's buying as close to £1,000 as it can given the size of the stock. We've got, if we look at the screen now, it tells us we've got 8 slots left and just over £8,000 left. Look at that. Automated buying into a portfolio. So how do we know that it's picked the right stocks? What am I interested in monitoring? As I watch this from day to day now, these stocks, what am I interested in looking at? Well, I'll tell you what I'm interested in looking at. I'm interested in the trend. I'm interested in the EPS estimates, whether they're moving. I'm interested in a stop loss, and I'm interested in the alert level. So let me save that now. I've just activated those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the portfolio. Suddenly, the view that I'm being presented is richer. Suddenly, I'm getting an indication of the trends. It's bullish, but there's a risk of consolidation. We'll look at the charts in a minute. It's bullish risk of consolidation. The EPS estimates for 2026 and 2027 are nice for this one, but look, there's a bit of a query over Bunzl. This one's a bit flat and deteriorating. There's another one here, Pearson. There's some issues there. And if I click on, say, for example, Rolls-Royce, I open this up, it's starting to show me some of the detail. It's starting to show me which Ichimoku signals are valid. So if I look at the Ichimoku signals for this chart, there's a lot that's right with this chart. I have a bullish future Kumo. The price is above this fast moving average, the Tenkan-sen. The price is above the medium term moving average, the Kijun-sen. The Chikou, this lagging line, is above the price action. The fast moving average is above the medium term moving average. The price action is above the cloud. The Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen are above the cloud. The thing that breaks this is this risk of consolidation. This Chikou lagging line is too close to running into the historical data. For me, that means there's a risk of consolidation. This is not a stock I would typically buy. So it warns me. It's bullish, but there's a risk of consolidation. Consolidation risk. Let's look at a couple of other charts. This one's better, closer, but still consolidating. I've added the ability to draw this consolidation box on, and it's got the buy line where it bought this. Let me also enable one other feature here actually that's disabled at the moment. It's added a stop loss running along the bottom of the Kumo. So again, this one is risk of consolidation. There's been some sort of EPS weakness around here. You can see there's a really minor drop, and that's reflected on the chart with the down arrow. Again, this is another candidate I wouldn't have bought normally because this consolidation zone is wrong. And again, another one that's not right. This one's really interesting. This is Ramsden's perfect setup in terms of the Ichimoku. All of the conditions are right, and the consolidation box is green. But you know what the problem is? This stock is under takeover. So if I bought this, it's going nowhere. I don't want to be messing around with stocks that are under takeover, halted or suspended. So that's another thing I want to filter out if I can, that I can't currently do through the screen. Again, this one's going to be consolidating. Another one potentially consolidating. And another one. So actually none of these so far I would have bought live. Okay, so let's go back. I am going to select all of them and I'm going to delete them from this portfolio. Now I want to go back to my screen. So here's my screen. And I'm going to make some edits. And I'm going to edit the description. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add halted, suspended, takeover. That is now going to restrict, it's going to fail any stocks that are suspended, halted, or in the process of a takeover. Let me just save that. Refresh the page. What I can do now is I can filter the page. So it's going to run those criteria. And straight away, It's identified that Ramsden's is under a takeover, so it's excluded it. So that's a good start. We've managed to exclude one stock. What else can I add to help me? So I'm interested in the Ichimoku graph. So I'm going to put Ichimoku. I'm also going to put EPS F year 1, EPS F year 2. So what these directors are doing are saying, check the Ichimoku graph, make sure all of the conditions are there and there's no risk of consolidation. EPS F year 1, pull this value. EPS financial year 1, 3-month upgrade, I want this value and this condition. So it's now going to look for an EPS upgrades of greater than 0 and a 3-month upgrade greater than 0. And it wants no drops in the EPS upgrade, because you might have it going up, but in the middle there might be a downgrade. I'm prepared to tolerate a very small downgrade of 0.1%, but really I want it going up, and that's going to filter the candidates. Whenever you make a change like that, you need to refresh the page. I come back to the screen, and now I'm going to filter it. And now it says no stocks past the filter. None of these meet the criteria of the Ichimoku with a clear risk of consolidation and the EPS upgrades that we're looking for. Okay, so let's change the country. I'm going to change this to the US now. And there's 60 candidates now from a broad range. Let's see what happens if I filter this page. Okay, so now I'm starting to get some stocks passing. Let's look at the graphs. You can see why. The Ichimoku is right at the top. These stocks are breaking out. Okay, so the stocks I'm looking for are out there. They're just not out there in the UK at the moment, the ones that I'm happy with. So let's go back to the portfolio. And let's run it again. This time the QM rank screener is pointing at US data. Just going to refresh this page. So let's screen an auto buy. 60 stocks to go through now. 2 have passed already, 5 have passed, 6, 7, 8. And now it's going to buy them into the portfolio according to the rules. 20 positions, no more than 3 per industry group. And there you go, it's bought 9. So obviously there was some clashing between the industry groups. Let's refresh the portfolio. There you go. If we look at the industry groups, there's no more than 3 from one industry group. Slight formatting issue which I need to fix. But you can see we have bought 9 positions, 11 slots left, 11,500 pounds available. It's handled all of the currency issues to make sure that it's getting the right size and right number of shares. If we look at the summaries, all of them are bullish and trending. Bullish, trending. All of the EPS graphs for the last 13 weeks are looking good. If we went and looked at the charts for each one of these, stop loss is on the Kumo. That stop loss will only ever ratchet up, so it doesn't go down here. It's going to stay here until the Kumo breaks through, and it will pull it up in this direction later on. There's no risk of consolidation. We can see there's 7.4% EPS upgrade, 4.6. There's no downgrades in here or no weakness. All of the Ichimoku conditions are in place, and there's no risk of consolidation. It's not suspended, it's not halted, it's not under takeover. And all of them will be like that. How awesome is that? So that's a good start, right? We've got enhanced screening and an ability to filter stocks with that enhanced screening that includes things like takeovers that you can't screen for at the moment, limiting the number of stocks in a portfolio, buying into a portfolio according to a set of rules that you specify. We've got charting enhanced to show you exactly why these things are behaving in the way they are. I could do the Ichimoku screening behind, but it helps. I could put it on trading view, which is helpful, but this is all inside Stockopedia. It's fantastic, right? What about selling? So we've got the automation buying now, but what about selling? So here's the thing. I think Stockopedia is really good at getting you into stocks, but I'm not so sure it's good at helping you get out. So I want to introduce you to the idea of a screen that helps you exit. And really, this is just, I'm not interested in the candidates that list below. This is all about the rules. These rules here and these rules here. And what these rules say to my extension is, if the QM rank drops below 90, I'm selling. If there's an EPS drop in the EPS graph of 3% or more, I'm selling immediately. Something's happened. The analysts for this quality momentum process, the analysts have marked it down by 3% in a month. I'm out. So if any of these fail, I'm gone. So let's just go back to the portfolio a second. Let me just go to the momentum panel, because I want to see the QM ranks. So what I'm going to do is I am going to modify my exit screen say if you're less than a QM rank of 99, I'm going to exit. I'm going to reload that. So in the portfolio now, I've got a link to sell QM rank. So this is a bit tricky here. I really wanted to differentiate. When you look at your screens, I wanted to differentiate between screens that you use for buying, like this one, and screens that are used for exit rules. So my software is looking for screens prepended with exit : and then the screen name. So this is called exit : space QM rank. And I'm saying sell QM rank. So I'm going to run it. It looks at the positions and decides to sell DVA because it's QM rank. Exit, let me zoom in. Exit due to rank deterioration, QM rank 98.5 compared to the rule of 99. So it's sold it now. And if we look at transactions, there's the deposit, there's the purchases, and if we look at the note on the end, it says it's an auto sell QM rank exit due to rank deterioration. QM rank equals 98.5 compared to a 99 rule. Now you've got automated buying and selling according to your rules. What else will force this to sell? It'll also sell based on the stop loss. So we said we want a stop loss on the base of the Kumo. If this price falls down through that Kumo and closes below, and you run that sell screen, it'll also sell because you've breached your stop loss. So rules to exit are stop loss and whatever criteria you put in your exit screen. You're in control. If an EPS drop had occurred, it would have detected that and sold it as well. I'll give you one more thing, because you know that if something changes about the quality of the stock, sometimes I don't sell straight away, but I move my stop loss a bit closer. I call that adaptation. I'm adapting the stop loss to tighten it up because I think there's more of a risk of this stock breaking down. And so I'm going to get ready to take my profits on it, but I'm not ready to sell just yet. So I call that adaptation. And the way I handle that is I create a new screen. I'm going to add a rule. And the rule might be QM rank again. And I'm going to say less than 99. I'm going to save it. I'm going to say if it drops by more than 1.5% on the EPS graph, I'm also going to adapt my stop loss. Because the logic is that the analysts are downgrading the estimates. They're weakening the estimates. And I'm going to go back to my other screen, exit. And I'm going to change that. And I'm going to say 90. So I'm going to go back to my portfolio. I'm going to run the screen to buy it again because I want it to buy that one stock. Okay. Refresh the portfolio. Let's put it on the momentum screen so we can see. So here you can see DVA's back in. It's got a momentum score of a QM rank of 98. So what I need to do is I go back to the portfolio and I add in adapt and the name of the screen, which is going to be QM rank. And then I put in adapt, adapt, and I say what stop loss I want to move it to. And for me, it's Kitchenson. It could be a percentage base, a trading stop loss like 5%. But for me, I'm choosing Kitchenson because that's the approach that I use. So I've applied that now. So it's going to look for an adaptation screen called QM. And if we look at the screens, I wanted to differentiate, like I said, the adaptation and the exit screens from the normal screening for buying. When you see the name #adapt, it's going to look for a screen that starts with adapt : and then the name of the screen, so QM rank. So I'm going to refresh it just to make sure that that portfolio description is available to the extension. And there you go. Straight away, it's highlighted adapted stop loss. It's marked blue and it's a lot closer. So if you go and look at the chart now, stop loss has moved from the bottom of the Kumo cloud up to the Kitchenson. And this will keep tracking up. Just like it would track along the bottom of the cloud, it'll keep tracking up. And it says in the description, rank ratio weakening, QM rank is 98.5, less than 99. Let's say the price kept appreciating, never broke the Kitchenson keeps moving up as well, and then eventually the QM rank recovered above 99. What would happen is the stop loss would be moved back to the bottom of the Kumo, but the stop loss never gets moved down. The Kumo is going to have to catch up and overtake the Kitchenson. So this price is always going to stay here until the Kumo goes beyond it. Stop losses only ratchet up in these circumstances. So now I've got a mechanism that buys according to my screen rules. It adapts the stop loss based on some parameters that I set, and it will exit if the price breaks the stop loss or breaks some of the rules in the exit screen too. So now we've got a bit more flexibility about how we operate, and the information is instantly visible on your portfolio page when you come here. It tells you that this stop loss has been adapted. Let me pass you over to another more established portfolio. So here's the QM growth blueprint. This is the strategy that I used based around the webinar I did with Ed, and I've been running this portfolio in an automated manner since November. And you can see that there's a combination of adapted stops, like cocoa has been adapted here. You can see that some stocks are consolidating, like Mir or Argan or Vertiv. Some are fully trending, like this Japanese stock. It's bullish and it's trending, and the EPS is good. Stop losses on the bottom of the Kumo. Also got a market regime indicator here to help you as well. I'm not going to go into that detail now because I don't want to overcomplicate things. But suddenly you can start to see how easy it is to look at your portfolio and get a sense of which stocks are struggling. This is like Stockopedia supercharged, and it's at a glance. I can look down here and go quickly, okay, things don't look too bad in that portfolio. So again, this is another portfolio. This is a QM core blueprint based on worldwide stocks. And I'm saying it's the best of the best, 40 best of the best. So 40 positioned, stop losses on the Kumo, alert 8%. I want all of the stocks compared against each other globally. Again, I only want 15% in one industry group. I buy according to this core blueprint screen. I've added an extra parameter in here which says I never buy if the index, the associated index, is in a bearish regime. So at the moment, I won't be buying American stocks because the regime is bearish. I sell based on this blueprint QM sell screen, and I never sell if the regime is bearish either. So again, I'm not going to be selling this stock at the moment because the regime is bearish. And then I adapt according to the adapt blueprint QM screen, and I adapt to the kids and son, and then I show the various fields down here which help me to, at a glance, assess where the portfolio is. So for example, this stock here, I can see 3.7% above the Kumo. It's consolidating. If you look at the chart, you can see this is where I bought it. It would have been in a good regime. It would have been in a good Ichimoku position there, within the box would have been in this area. It's gone up, hit some resistance, bounced off the cloud, gone up again after results, and it's come back down again. And actually saying this is in a bearish market regime, and we can just turn that on. I'll just turn it on quickly so you can see. It doesn't show the full history, but what you can see here is in the highlighted pink, this is when the underlying index has been declining. And it hasn't got the full history because that means I have to pull more data, but it's just calculating most recently. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this stock over the next few days now, whether it manages to bounce back out of this cloud or whether it's pulled down through, whether we exit out of this regime, this bad regime, as the US markets recover. So what have I given you? I've given you enhanced screening for things like takeovers, etc. Built into that is the ability to screen on Ichimoku signals, the ability to screen on EPS fluctuations in the graph. I've given you the ability to specify the configuration of a portfolio and how you wish stocks to be bought into that portfolio, pointing at the screen, telling it how many positions you want, what sort of balance you want across industry groups, what sort of stop losses you want to use. I'm giving you a stop loss. Even if you don't want to use any of my Ichimoku stuff, maybe this is the first time that you've had the ability to run a stop loss within Stockopedia. You can see it on the graph. You could use it to exit stocks and buy into stocks. And you can see it reported on your portfolio. So you can see at a glance where your stock is in relation to your stop loss. We've also got the ability to adapt the stop loss on based on criteria. And look, you could be a dividend investor. I'm not sure what obviously this is very tailored to my approach, but maybe you're interested in shares that have a dividend yield over a certain level. And if you might want to adapt a stop loss if a dividend yield drops. Or you might want to exit if a dividend yield drops. And you could code that into your exit screen. Just put the dividend yield behind lower certain ratio, and that takes you out of the stock. And then you refresh the page, and suddenly you're trading out of one dividend yielding stock and into a higher yielding alternative. You use it as you want to. I've got a specific pathway that I'm trying to use, but you could use it with any of the parameters that Stockopedia allows you to screen for as an entry and exit strategy. I've also given you the ability to see some of that data on the charts. Whether that's bearish regime, that could still be useful to you. You might take that and use that for yourself in a certain way. And there's even EPS downgrades highlighted on the graph. So at this point here, 17th of July, there's been some form of earnings downgrade. Let's have a little look on the panel. And here it is. In June, it was marked down minusculely, 0%, but it was marked down. So it's just showing you on the graph what's going on. This has been really, really helpful for me. If I go to my portfolios, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regional portfolios, one for each region using the QM blueprint. And then I've got a worldwide one, which is the best of the best. The regional ones, you can add a regional flag. So even if this screen selects from multiple regions, you can say, I just want the British candidates, please. And so I can run these transactions every day, sell, and then rebuy again. And these portfolios will be self-updating. I then export them out to Snowball Analytics. If I could share them with you within Stockopedia, I would, but I can't. That's one of the features that I know the team will be looking at in the future. Canadian, US. Remember, I've only been running this portfolio like this since late April, and this portfolio is up 15%. We can see there's an adapted stop loss here on Plexus. And the stop loss is riding up the Kitchenson as it's climbing. If this breaks down through this Kitchenson, I'll sell. It says the stock has been adapted due to a weakening quality rank. So my adaptation screen for this approach is quality rank less than 95. I select stocks that are over 95, and if they drop below 95, I tighten the stop loss, and if they drop below 90, I sell them. And again, it could be that the price continues to appreciate, the quality momentum rank goes back over 95, the stop loss doesn't get moved down to the Kumo, but the new stop loss will be the Kumo value as long as it beats this Kitchenson. So this stop loss will never be ratcheted down. It'll only be when the Kumo catches up and pushes beyond that will start moving back up. So there's the US. Asia's even better, although this is compared against the Kospi index. It's been brutal the last few days. You know, I was up 22% after a month in this exchange. And you can see it's been quite rocky. %117%. 3 semiconductors. 3 electronics companies. Never breaking that industry cap. India. And Australasia. So you can see that the screen is caching some data. It knows what screen it's going to use. It knows what region it's attacking. So it's fetching the candidates, pre-fetching them in case you go buy, in case you hit this buy screen. So they're all cached there now for the time being. And so if I did screen and buy, won't buy anything at the moment because it will not buy in a bearish regime, and the Australian index is in a bearish regime and has been for a long time. And that's why there's not as many stocks in the Australian portfolio as there is in the Asian or the American portfolio. And you can see I've got the same for the VM blueprint below. That's been even slower. So there's only 3 Australian here, look. Even the US version is not full. So look, I hope you can see why I've been really excited about this. For me, it is a game changer. I can see my portfolio status at a glance with the fields that really matter to me. I can add enhanced screening that allows me to buy based on extra criteria. Cutting out loads of messing around in Google spreadsheets or looking at each stock report is so much better. I can buy them into a portfolio in an automatic manner according to rules that I'm able to define. I'm able to adapt my stop loss in a way that works for me based on the criteria I'm interested in, and then I'm able to sell when those criteria fail or the price breaks its stop loss. I've got charting features which help me understand what's happening and what's going on. You know, rather than this just being a blind process that happens, you can see the logic and understand what's happening. Helps you understand my approach. And hopefully you can use a simple version of this too, even if you just want a simple strategy that buys, say, on a stock rank a value above a certain level, tightens the stop loss when the stock rank drops below a certain level, and then sells it again either when the stop loss is breached or the stock rank drops below another level. It could be dividends, yield, it could be any value that is screenable. Through Stockopedia, you could automate this system. I really hope you can see why I've been so keen to get it over the line, so keen to be able to show it to you, because I really want to demonstrate the power of factor-based investing without the knowledge of analysts, opinions from other people, you know, what the global markets are doing, predictions in the tea leaves of what people think they will do. I just follow the process and let the software do it for me. So thanks for watching. I'm going to break it down step by step now, short video by short video. So if I need to change anything, I can just switch it out really easily. And hopefully you can get an idea of how to use these parameters and get this automation working for you. I think you're really going to love it and find it a great help.